Hello, today we'll be discussing something very important about maps of nations and prophetic insights. But we'll be starting with Africa, but our focus is Nigeria. So, as long as about 10 years ago or more, well, let me say even 15 years ago, I used to hear that Africa map or the map of Africa looks like a pistol, and Nigeria is the trigger point, and God is going to send people from Nigeria to restore Africa and to restore the world. But recently God was trying to give me some insight about that map, and I will be talking about the current situation of Nigeria, the past, and what's going to happen in Nigeria from the map of Nigeria. You know, just like China looks like a rooster, Italy looks like a long boat, United Arab Emirates looks like a kangaroo. Nigeria is quite unique. I will be looking at the landmarks of the map of Nigeria. So the upper part of Nigeria has four convolutions, which God was telling me that those are mountains and they are like horns. And Nigeria has one base at the south, at the tip of the south. And it has three rivers, one from the left, one from the south, and they both join together and went together to the south. All these things are prophetic insight to what is happening in Nigeria and what would happen. So, the scriptural backing for this insight is from the book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse 18. So I'll be reading from verse 16 downward, but our focus is from 18 downward, okay? Just follow with me as I'm reading. Open your eyes and open your hearts. So, from verse 16, it says, "Therefore, thus says the Lord, I am returning to Jerusalem with mercy. I'm returning to Nigeria with mercy. My house shall be built in it, says the Lord of hosts, and a sovious line shall be stretched out over Jerusalem." So sovious line talked about map. So God is drawing a map over Nigeria at the moment, which is not the normal one, which is not the regular one, but it is going to be made by Soviets. And Soviets in this article talks about prayer worker. God sends prayer workers around and they are trying to map the territory and cause frequencies over a territory and spiritual traffic. So if you're a prayer worker in Nigeria at this moment, it is high time you take your post. It is high time you start to travel. It is high time you start to make frequency in that location. Then we'll move to verse 17. Again, proclaim, saying, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, my cities shall again spread out their prosperity. The Lord will again comfort Zion and will again choose Jerusalem." Verse 18, this is where we are going downward. "Then I raised my eyes and looked, and there were four horns." So God has told us what He's going to do, that He's going to send people to measure the land of Nigeria. But when the prophet looked, he saw four horns, and those are the four horns over the mountains of Nigeria, okay? "And I saw four horns, and I said to the angel who talked with me, what are these?" So he answered me, "These are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem." Judah, the northern part of Nigeria, Israel, the southern part, and this capital of Nigeria, which is Jerusalem. So these horns have influence over Nigeria to the point that they scattered Nigeria. But these horns does not just mean horns, they are all spiritually mean thrones. They mean power. They make kings. So there are four nations at the moment who are backing over Nigeria, and there are four forces working over Nigeria at the moment. And they've not just started, they've started 40 years ago over Nigeria. Just was after independence. You know, Nigeria thought independence was the solution, but it wasn't. It was another revolution into another trade between nations. And Nigeria is not free. Nigeria is just celebrating independence, but Nigeria is still not free, even spiritually and economically. So God is sending another wave of people into that country, and they are called the carpenters. So let's read further. In verse 20, "Then the Lord showed me four craftsmen, and I said, what are these coming to do? So he said, these are the horns that scattered Judah, so that no one could lift up his head. But these craftsmen are coming to terrify them, cast out the horns of the nations. Okay, can you see? If for the first time this time I'm saying this coming out to be straightforward. Horns of the nations that lifted up their horn against the land of Judah to scatter. Sincerely, this was not what I was planning to say, but as I'm reading it again now, that came to me as a proof that that prophetic insight was true. 4 nations have gathered themselves against Nigeria independently to sap the economy, to sap the situation of Nigeria, and these are trolls. We could say through the last International World Financial Summit, witches and wizards were the one anointing them. For you to know that what is not just about the economic figure, it was about the wizard that orchestrated those things. So God is bringing men on board, and their name is what? Craftsmen. You know, in some version they were called carpenters. So carpenter here are skilled men. They are men who are skilled in diverse ways. So let me get the Bible. God is raising people at this time in Nigeria that will be raised within Nigeria to help Nigeria. And these people are not people who are religious. Yeah, and that's one of the things you need to know. Going to church will not save Nigeria. Okay? So, but it may be one of the ways to enhance your awareness of that thing and to prepare you for it. So God is raising craftsmen, skilled men. And these are called the apostles in the marketplace. If you are one, you need to sit up. If you've seen God calling your attention to some things, it is high time you left your secret place and perform. You need to leave that place where you've gotten those insights from and start to live the dream. Nigeria needs you now. If God has started to call you into praying, walking, or into business sphere, you need to stand at this time because Nigeria needs you. Maybe one of the reasons why Nigeria is still in the pit is because you've not stood up for your country and being intentional about what God has called you to do. God has called you to business sphere. To do what? Just like when Abraham was in Haran, God sent him to where he does not know, but he began that journey in obedience to where he was able to build the house of God. So God is raising men and women, and for you watching this video, God is raising you. You are numbered. You are part of that habit. So you don't need to complain about this current affair of Nigeria now. What is God using you to do about it? Start to pray about Nigeria. And the prayer you are going to pray is not about Nigeria should be restored. That those men that the Lord has appointed should come to the realization of their calling and to walk in alignment with what God has said at that time. So this prophecy in the scriptures was fulfilled. Some theologians said it could mean Caleb, Joshua, Ezra, Nehemiah, and some were given some. But God is raising these particular people for Nigeria at this moment. Those who will look at those horns in their eyes. Religion may not be one of the horns. Finance may be, governance may be, business may be. Those mountains of influence, you need to go and study and know where you belong. Because God is raising you at this time. If you belong to the Lord's house, you must be useful at this time. Yeah, you must be useful. So it is high time you sit up, start to pray for your nation, and you yourself, you should equip yourself to be one of the carpenters. I am Isaiah. God bless you.